To create food for plants, the plants use sunlight to produce sugar, which is the plant's food. The plants convert water and carbon dioxide to sugar and oxygen. Pigments directly help plants absorb the light energy and pass it on to the Calvin cycle. The Calvin cycle will eventually make glucose. The pigments are in the thylakoid in the light reaction. Also in the thylakoid uses the pigments to help absorb light. The absorbed light energy is then passed on to the Calvin cycle within the stroma. Photosynthesis takes in light and gives off CO2 and sugar to cell respiration that gives off ATP and gives photosynthesis H2O and CO2.
The purpose of cell respiration is to make carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight. The purpose is also to convert an energy in glucose and release it to make it ATP energy. Glycolysis is when the reaction starts out with the general path of glucose. Then it becomes glycolysis, which is partially oxidized glucose. If there's oxygen, then it becomes a fermentation which has less ATP. If there is no oxygen, then it becomes an aerobic respiration, which is a curved cycle and has more ATP. Fermentation is both lactic acid and alcoholic. The lactic acid is an anaerobic respiration, which is glucose, turrose, and sucrose, which convert into cellular energy. The aerobic system supports a moderate pace for long periods because the lactic that is produced is simulated, processed, and removed. As the aerobic system fluctuates or increases, you become more dependent on the aerobic system and you produce lactic faster that your body can get rid of. The next fermentation is alcoholic. It is an aerobic respiration. Alcoholic fermentation is a pathway for anaerobic respiration. This is when yeast cells are used to produce energy from sugar. During alcoholic fermentation, there are three products. They are ethanol, alcohol, ATP, and carbon dioxide. The Krebs cycle is part of the cellular respiration. It is a series of chemical reactions used by all the aerobic organisms to make energy. It comes after the link reaction and provides the hydrogen and electrons needed for the electron transport chain. It takes place inside the mitochondria. Electron transfer chains are used for extracting energy from sunlight and photosynthesis, and also from redox reactions, such as oxidation of sugar and cell respiration.
Parts of the mitochondria include the inner membrane space, the matrix, the cristae, ribosome, granules, DNA, the inner membrane, the outer membrane, and the ATP synthesis particles. The closed circulatory system is fast and more efficient. Aerobic respiration is also more efficient because it has more ATP. Oxygen goes into the blood cells from the air through the nose and down into the lungs. Then the red blood cells carry the oxygen in the bloodstream.
Photosynthesis and cell respiration are related to one another because one utilizes energy to form glucose and the other breaks it down to release. They're both energy, and photosynthesis makes what cellular respiration uses.
Humans and other things to eat the plant to gain energy.
The significance of cell respiration in the circulatory system is to know how they function in our blood cells and how they compare to each other.